Ladies and gentlemen, it's another wonderful Saturday night. It's a hot tag Saturday. With me, as always, is my co host Teddy and Zach. You know Zach. We got a lot to go over tonight, okay? We got Night of Champions coming next week. This is the last time you're going to see us before Night of Champions, so we got to talk about all of that. Maybe at the end, there's some stuff floating around in wrestling news this week we might touch on, because we like to do a nice little wrap up at the end. But the focus, the World Heavyweight Championship, Judah, Saudi Arabia, Night of Champions. We'll start with Zach because he's our guest. Zach, my man, how we doing?
Doing fantastic. Thank you as always for having me on a rare Saturday when I'm not out on the road. It's nice to be home with a cup of coffee on the Hot Tag podcast. And I also want to say on a side note, congratulations on 200 followers I saw the other day.
Thank you. Grinded. Teddy, my tag partner, my co-host, my man. How we doing?
I'm chilling. I had a long day of studying. Not a great amount of sleep, but did I let that keep me away from the Hot Tag podcast? Absolutely not. And you know what? I kind of want to congratulate you, Zach, because you have now just been pretty much upgraded to the Newman of the group, of our Seinfeld group. You were pretty much
I'll take it.
you're the number one side character, pretty much. You're no longer really a guest. You're just the side character in our show that's always there. You're the Newman of the group.
Thanks. I'm always happy to make an appearance when people have forgotten about me. Just to remind you that I'm still here.
that's perfect. Listen, we love having you on, man. It's always nice because I feel like you have a little bit different perspective. You've been such like a fan and following so closely to so many different things for so long. You bring a lot to the table, and it's fun to have you on.
Thank you, fellas.
Yeah. Now, you brought up the World Heavyweight Championship tournament, and Jeddah, man. You know what I'll tell you? The promos and just the music they've been using to get us hyped for Jeddah is pretty sick. It's like
Yeah.
kind of got a nice allure to it. You're just like, ooh, I can't wait. It's like Saudi Jeddah Arena, whatever. It's like it just seems like it's the right place to crown a champion. Now,
Mm-hmm.
now, what championship is this? Because I, at this point, still don't know if this is a continuation of the World Heavyweight title that was retired in 2013, or is this? They have said it a few times. The new World Heavyweight Championship. Is this a new line? Is the old line broken, and this is the new line? Which I really don't know too many things that do that. I mean, unless you're gonna make this the new, like it's just the name is not the World Heavyweight Champion. It's the name of it's the new World Heavyweight Champion, like like New Mexico, New York. Like we just named it the new thing. So I don't know what's going on here. I would like to see some throwbacks and like some highlights of some of the best World Heavyweight title reigns and some of the best World Heavyweight Championship matches. I think we should start doing that if we're doing that. But around, I'm kind of confused on what we're doing with this title, and I'm also kind of confused on how are we calling it the World Heavyweight Championship, but Roman's still calling his the Universal, the Undisputed Universal Championship. Undisputed means one, no other. You can't call yourself undisputed if there's another world title out there.
But there isn't
That's what
technically yet.
well, that's what I'm saying. So are they just going to change the name of it?
Yes, it's just going to
next
go back to
Saturday?
being the Universal title, I'd imagine.
The WWE Universal title?
Yes.
I wonder because I feel like Roman won't be too okay with that. Like I feel like he's going to be a little upset about that. Like I can't I can't imagine them just going well. Like I feel like they should do something. They shouldn't just go well. It's no longer you undisputed, so you're the WWE Universal Champion. Like I feel like they should make an announcement or something, like letting us know, like don't just start calling it, changing the name, and just call it that. I think you should like make a formal statement about it or something.
I think it's a little weird. I mean, I thought when you first told me about the new belt, we were talking about it. I thought originally, all right, that's it. He's going to combine the two belts. They're going to have a new, like, undisputed type belt, like 2002 ish when they brought out the new belt. But like you said, he's still got the two belts. They acknowledge that he's got two different titles. So it's weird. Maybe after Night of Champions, when everything kind of settles down with the draft being over and everything else, they'll make some changes. But as far as that goes, too, they still have the undisputed tag champions, right? Are they going to have to
Yeah.
make another tag belt for Raw or SmackDown, depending on how that's working?
I've been wondering that, to be honest with you, what they're going to do with that. We're gonna let Nick and go in a couple seconds, but I don't think they're doing this, but they're making way for it. There's about to be two new trios like tags. Like I heard JD McDonough. Well, I heard JD McDonough is going into the Judgment Day, and I also heard Ilya Dragunov by SummerSlam will be part of the Imperium.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, I've been calling for trios for a year. It feels like now, but with as far as the title situation goes, I feel like if it was going to be a continuation of the old World Heavyweight Championship, they would have made that very clear by now. And what they've said specifically is this is new. So I think, and we've talked about it on the show before, the modernization of title reigns. This might be part of that, right? Because there's now no official WWE title anymore. It's the Universal Championship and the WWE Universal Championship and the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So that's kind of like there's no specific WWE title now. That's the first time it's been that ever.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? No WWE Championship anymore.
I'm okay with it. Listen, I don't think it's good or bad. I think it's just new and I think it's different. And honestly, if you want to do that and bring, because how often do we hear wrestling's fake, right? All the time. Maybe you want to detach yourself from that era. Make it a whole new thing.
I have a hard time with it because I think I'm a huge guy on the past and tradition and like the WWE Championship. I get what they're doing and I honestly don't mind it, but I think to me it's just like I would just have to grieve. Obviously, something that's been around for so long. The WWE title has been the long standing like the last week is like that's the only title that hasn't changed. Big Gold came and left. Well, IC title actually, IC title and the WWE Championship are the only ones that haven't come and gone. And I guess technically you can say the U.S. title because since it's been here, it hasn't gone anywhere. So I think it would just be really weird if the WWE Championship went away. I'd be okay if you. I mean, it would sound stupid at first, but if you eventually but after a while, no one would think about it. I'd be okay with it if you kind of combine the Universal and WWE title lineage together, and so it just merged into one. I'd be okay with it. It'd be a little stupid. It'd be a little muddy because unless they just said, "Hey, these were two different titles at one point, but now they're one," and so their lineage up until this point is separate, but then once it gets here, it combines and moves forward. Be a little weird, but to me, I think that'd be your best bet because obviously you don't want to diminish Roman's title reign because the very fact of the matter is, if you're going to keep the WWE Championship, Roman is not the longest WWE champion of all time. He's the longest world champion in WWE history of all time, but he is not the longest WWE champion of all time. He's only held that title a little over a year now. The WWE Championship. He's been the Universal Champion coming on 1,000 days. And so I think they're trying to combine that type of that reign and kind of make it just feel fluid. The fact of the matter is, it's like unless you do combine the titles and their lineage, it muddies the water a little bit. And like Roman, like it would always be Roman was the longest reigning Universal Champion, but it wasn't. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I didn't think about it that much.
As long as I guess if they just have one big belt, it should be enough, right? For the most part.
I didn't know you would feel so strongly.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you went on a diatribe there. You were rambling. You were on one about that. Listen, and you're not wrong. The WWE title is been, when you look at it, the number one championship in the world for 30, 40 years. Like, New Japan has always been 1A because they have, like, all of Asia and stuff like that. But WWE is still the biggest promotion in the world. So, it is something weird to walk away from, but it's like, I think you're going to have to divide it that way. It's like, this is a new WWE Universal title.
And like, if you put it that way, like I said, after a while, we'll all forget about it. It is what it is. I mean, just think about it now. Like, some people will. How often do you go on a WWE's webpage and look at the title reign, the WWE Championship title reign history?
Only when I see someone tweet who was the champion on your birthday and I forget.
That's it. I'm probably one of the people who goes on there and just looks at title reigns for no reason because I just like wrestling, and so like I said, eventually you can just merge that shit together and no one's gonna think twice about it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like like I tell people, if you're a New York person, we still call it the Tappan Sea Bridge, but eventually in about 10 years, no one's gonna call it the Tappan Sea anymore because we're all gonna just eventually just merge it and call it the Como Bridge, whatever the hell you call it. Eventually, we're just gonna phase out, and that's all they're gonna know. So
Yeah.
not that big of a deal. So we'll see what they do with it. Me personally, I'm still upset that Big Gold is gone, and I was hoping this would be a continuation of Big Gold.
Yeah. But listen, that leads us to the match itself. The finals of the New World Heavyweight Championship tournament. The phenomenal AJ Styles versus Seth freaking Rollins. If you want to look at it this way, chat, Eddie versus Shake. AJ versus Seth. A rivalry that I think this match is going to be really good. This week is going to be really interesting to see how they kind of try to ramp it up because they haven't really done anything between the two, but now I feel like you have to. We'll probably get a contract signing this week, and I hope there's some form of altercation outside of that because we know contract signings are never contract signings in the WWE. But yeah, the match I think is gonna really deliver on a high level, and I think whoever wins this match, I think we all kind of see the writing on the wall, but you never really know till it happens.
We didn't think AJ was going to be in the match.
True.
I think I'm really excited to see Seth Rollins' part 2 of his take on he was talking about winning the the World Heavyweight title and stuff. Corey Graves cut an interview with him, and it was pretty good. And then they cut off on the point where they were like, "What do you think of Roman's current title reign?" And I'm like, "Ooh, what does he think?" So I'm interested to see what he says about it because obviously it's going to have ramifications on the world title.
Yeah.
I love how you say it's going to be you versus me because I'm an AJ Styles fan and you're a Seth Rollins fan.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't even go as far to say you versus me because, like you said, we all see the writing on the wall. And I don't even think I'm rooting for AJ. I kind of am, but I'm not because I also just don't think logistically it makes sense. Because if AJ wins, he's going to have to uproot the OC all the way over to Raw. And now we just have less people on SmackDown again. So I really am not. I'm not looking forward to him winning because it just doesn't fit in. That's gonna be Raw's gonna be bloated. If the OC goes over, the Raw's gonna be bloated. SmackDown's gonna be bare, and we're gonna be in a crappy situation.
How bare could you be with the bloodline? But yeah, I hear you. It does seem like that. It's Seth Rollins gonna win. I said it from the beginning when I realized that it was so dumb when they first announced the tournament and half the people are on SmackDown. And I'm like, well, that's stupid. They just had the draft. And they're like, well, if the winner is from Friday Night SmackDown, they'll go to Raw. I'm like, yeah, okay, I bet, buddy. So to me, that was like 6 people off the rip that weren't going to win it.
I agree.
So,
I agree with that. What do you think, Zach?
I don't know. I think I told you the other day. I think the whole build for the match in general kind of sucked because they brought out the new belt. They said, hey, pretty much nobody's beating Roman Reigns, so here's a new belt to make up for it.
mm-hmm.
And then even on the night of the tournament, they more focused on the Cody Brock feud than they did with this new belt. And then kind of Nick just said they're saying, oh, well, the SmackDown guy wins, he's coming over. Well, I don't think anyone thinks AJ is coming over because him and his whole group just went to SmackDown. But it was like they kind of did something to try to make it interesting. But at the same time, it's like it just didn't really seem like it worked. And even now, it doesn't seem like it's the biggest match on the card. It seems like they're still focused on other stuff when they really shouldn't be because that's their new world title. That should be top priority. And I wouldn't even be surprised if it doesn't main event the show. The way the new one
always start off that title on a shitty note. It already is off on a rough note because everybody knows it's the consolation prize. As people keep saying, it's the second title. We didn't create this because we drafted. We created this because we can't get the belt off Roman. So here you guys go fight over this. That's why we created it. So it's already got that. And then if it doesn't main event the show, it's a bad look. And honestly, it shouldn't have been AJ to win. It's great because AJ and Seth are gonna have a great match, which I think is what they're gonna lean towards with this. This title is every match is gonna be a banger for this title. But I have to go get my cookies out of the oven so you guys can.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting situation. It's I don't know how we were supposed to believe that the SmackDown guy was gonna win. But as far as it being the B title, yeah, I mean, you said it, Zach. We don't know if it'll main event the show. They did do this multiple main event bullshit now. This is 2 premium live events in a row. Oh, we have a double main event. Now we have a triple main event. Fuck no. There's one main event. Sorry to everybody else. There's literally one. It's so dumb. And like nobody looks at that Bad Bunny match as like, oh, that was the part 1 of the main event. No, everybody looks at, wow, that should have been the main event that ended the show. So it's a weird situation you put in with those matches. And this seems like a trend and something they're going to continue to do. And I personally think it's dumb and devalues the main event a whole hell of a lot.
It's the same as like Chris Jericho always said when he did the match with Triple H that followed Rock and Hogan, and they would say to him like, "Oh, don't worry, like you're both the main event, this and that," and it was like, "Yeah, but there's not like that's the match that you put all the focus on,
Right?
And that's not, that's like a situation where that's technically the main event, but it's not. So even if they did put like Seth and AJ last, it doesn't really make it like the main. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
Yeah.
It all depends on what they put the most like highlights of and everything else, and it's not going to be that.
It's a shitty situation, but we'll see what happens. I think over time, like I said, I don't think that title, no offense, I know he's your boy. I don't think that title is going to get the respect it deserves until someone like Gunther comes and carries that title.
Or if, I mean, the only other way is if he beats somebody like Gunther. But yeah, I mean, that title needs.
I honestly think he would have to beat like Roman. Like he'd have to beat Roman in a non-title match and be like, "Oh shit."
Well,
like,
that's some people are already talking about that. They're like, "Oh, Survivor Series, Roman versus Seth again."
Do we really believe they're gonna let Seth beat Roman?
It depends on where this bloodline thing goes. We all saw the same shit Friday night. You want to talk about a man that looked shook? Roman Reigns was fucking shook. He bumped into Solo and said, "Oh, I'm sorry. Don't hurt me." Are you fucking kidding me? He is so shook right now. He sees the entire foundation of his bloodline and family crumbling around him. And he now has Solo staring holes through him. Because you know what? He's loyal to Roman, but Roman is dog shitting on his brothers that he grew up with from the beginning. And he's starting to see what Sammy's been talking about. Listen, Jimmy and Jay still have freaking Stockholm Syndrome, okay? But Solo sees through the bullshit. And I don't know if you noticed, but Solo was staring holes through Roman, and Paul was looking at Solo like, shit, this is not good. Solo is mad at Roman. This is bad.
Somebody put up a post of like evolution in the bloodline. And like, oh, glad to see they're taking the same track with this. Because like he did walk into Solo and he was like, it was just so
sorry.
And it was like, I was like, oh. And it's strange because we're really caught up in this story because this is a really cool, great story because you're like, you want Cody to beat Roman, but then you see Solo and you're like, and then you're like, you don't want that because right now you want Cody to win, and so you're like, but man, what a story that would be if Solo finally turned on Roman. I also do think Solo's not ready for that. Maybe the bloodline continues a little longer. I also think he just thought of something pretty cool. So what if, no one knows if Cody's going to win at SummerSlam or if he's going to win at Mania. But what if we get Cody wins at SummerSlam? We get Cody and Seth again at Survivor Series, champ versus champ.
That'd be interesting.
And then Roman goes away, comes back, wins the Rumble or something like that, and challenges Cody. And then, rubber match. People are going to be really. And then that's going to be. I think that would be more anticipated because now Roman's back, and now you really got fans split because obviously if he goes away, and comes back, we're going to miss him, and then we're going to be like, oh, he's no longer the bad champ. He's the guy. We always like the guy chasing the title more than the actual champion.
Oh, of course.
I don't know. I don't know where we're going, but I'm actually more optimistic about it. I haven't been paying much attention lately because I'm at the end of my semester, but I am still kind of optimistic about it. How are you guys feeling about
Go ahead.
I I don't know if Roman Reigns is to lose the belt. I just feel like it has to be at WrestleMania because it's going to be like a monumental thing when he finally loses. So, even if he does come back at SummerSlam, or if he loses at SummerSlam, whatever, and comes back, then I wouldn't see them having him win again and putting the belt on him. So that would be another big loss. And I don't know. I feel like it would be a little hard to pull off, but I think it would be better if Cody does somehow win or keep up, beating challenges the whole year round and finally like does enough to get the belt or get a shot at the belt and then gets the win, then that might be a bigger way to pull it off. Then maybe he goes away, comes back after that at some point, SummerSlam time, something like that.
Someone mentioned that maybe they're trying to put Cody through the hard times thing like his dad.
Yep.
Because I guess that's what happened with Dusty. Dusty was supposed to beat Rick, and he just kept getting screwed out until he eventually did win. So maybe they're trying to do the whole hard times thing with Cody.
It's also parallel to Cena's redemption story after he lost to The Rock.
Yeah, how did that go out? I wasn't paying attention, and so I don't know how that worked out. Like
Cena lost to The Rock and then comes out on Monday Night Raw. Brock Lesnar comes out for absolutely no goddamn reason, beats the fuck out of him. They go into it from there, and then it eventually leads back to Cena finding The Rock again and finally beating The Rock at WrestleMania.
Yeah. What did he do after his rivalry with Brock?
I don't know.
No one does. We tuned out.
I wasn't watching at that time, that's why.
Neither was I. So I was wondering. You know, I mean, it's sad. I think there's a lot of mistrust in WWE because you ever heard of? It's like we always hear it. That momentum. It's like we're all afraid of someone we like losing momentum. Why is that? Why have we got to the point where we just don't trust that someone can keep momentum up for that?
Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Because I mean, how long did Stone Cold keep momentum for?
I mean, I think things were
The
different
Rock.
back then. Things were really
Yeah,
volatile back
It's
then.
not the same.
Yeah.
It's a little different. I mean,
Back then you had what millions of people tuning in every week. A lot more than you had today, and just
Well,
the
I think-
product was different.
that's true. But I always like to poke a hole in that little theory, just simply because of the amount of people who watched the YouTube. Like back then, it was different, and the reason people were tuning in was because if you didn't, you weren't going to see it anywhere else. Like you literally had no other option. Like
Right.
when we were kids, when you were able to go onto WWE.com and watch their videos. It was like, and now it's like 2006 and five. So like you had in the 90s and in the early 2000s, you had no other option. So it was like I have to watch it. I remember when I was younger and I was like, I gotta watch SmackDown. I was like, well, I won't be able to see it now. Now I can pull up YouTube. I can find it somewhere on the web. If I'm that desperate, I can find it somewhere on the web. If I'm not desperate, I can watch it on Hulu. And then even now, it's like I watch the highlights. Like a lot of people don't even watch full football games anymore. They just watch the red zone. It's like I just watch the red zone. So it's like television has changed. I don't think, if anything, obviously it's not as big as it was back then. I still agree with that, but I do think it is close. Actually, I actually think it's close. A lot of people are tuning back in to watch wrestling again.
It's the closest it has been.
I agree because it's like you're watching it on so many different platforms. We're on like WWE is like I said on over WrestleMania week, and the amount of views they get on their YouTube videos and stuff like that is absolutely insane.
They get
So I
more
think it's
social
just-
media impressions than the Super Bowl for WrestleMania.
Exactly. So I think it's just we view it in a different way. So a lot of people are like, oh, it's not, it's not as big. And I do agree, it's not, but it's the closest it's ever been. It's damn close.
Yeah.
And I think we just view it in a different way, and that's we view everything different than they did back in the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a very different era. But let's cut this real quick and hop back
Yeah.
in. And so what the
You're back.
hell else is happening, Night of Champions?
That is an excellent question.
Well, I know we got our super random but interesting not 6 man, sorry. Undisputed Tag Team Championship match between Solo and Roman and Sammy and KO. So that's interesting. And that's going to be another step in this bloodline story. Because Sammy's now in the heads of Solo, Jimmy and Jay, even Roman a little bit still. He's definitely under the skin of Roman. So that's really the next match, and I don't really see Sammy and KO losing. I think the Usos are gonna cost Roman and Solo while they're trying to help.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
I think something will happen to make him want to turn on them even more, and then that'll kind of seal the deal
Yeah.
going into the next show. The next show is what, Money in the Bank, right? In
Yes.
July.
Yep.
We're in London.
That'll be fun. I'm really excited for Money in the Bank this year. But yes, Teddy. Well, how do you feel about the tag team championship match?
Not, I'm talking about kind of throwing off the bloodline story a little bit, but
A lot of people have.
yeah, like to me it's dragged on too long, but that's it. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with something. I'm just like I don't care, to be honest. I don't care.
So another thing we got to discuss going into Night of Champions that's super weird, and I'm still not happy about it. Teddy and I have talked about it a little bit already. Bianca versus Asuka is for the Raw Women's Championship while they're both on SmackDown. What the fuck are we doing?
If Asuka doesn't win, I'm really gonna sit here and go, what was the point of this?
And we're sitting here celebrating Bianca as the Raw Women's Championship because she's the longest reigning, modern women's champion. But like, she's on SmackDown now. There's no reason you can't celebrate her as the longest reigning women's champion because she hasn't lost. You can still do that. But like, there wasn't even a lazy, I'm not on this show, you're not on that show. Here you go. Like they did last time there was a draft kind of thing. Like, what are they doing? I don't understand this at all. It seems so lazy that they haven't even mentioned that. They're just like, yeah, she's the Raw Women's Champion, or Rhea Ripley, like, oh, she's the SmackDown Women's Champion. I'm like, this is Monday Night Raw. What are we doing? I don't understand what's happening.
No, I can ask because. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Jack.
So just because my brain's a little fried sometimes. Is Asuka on Raw?
No, she's on SmackDown. Both Bianca and her are on
okay.
SmackDown.
Because I was gonna say that might, like, I could see that might be the only redemption of it is like, Asuka's gonna bring the belt back to Raw, but if they're both on SmackDown, it's just stupid.
And Rhea's not gonna lose right now anyway.
No, so I'm assuming Bianca's gonna beat her, and then maybe they can eventually find a way to throw the belts. But you'd think they would have done it by now, especially with Night of Champions coming up.
It's very lazy.
Night of Champions. They might just swap it in the back rooms. Honestly, you should just change the name so you don't run into them. Honestly, am I the only one who's feeling like this draft has been counterproductive towards the company right now?
It hasn't really. I like the new rosters, but like they've been out of the brand split for so long. I feel like it's gonna take a little bit to get out of the thick of it, but it's just so weird. It just seems like there are so many things they could have done to make it easier that they just haven't been doing.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a weird spot. Like you said, Zach, hopefully after Night of Champions everything gets cleared up and maybe that's the way they're going to do it, but it seemed to me like for an event like Night of Champions in a foreign country that really like brings a WrestleMania-esque atmosphere every time they go there, you think you'd want to have your shit together, but here we are.
Yeah, it's weird, especially because they hyped the draft up so much. Like, we're back, we're starting this and that. But then, kind of like you just said, the way that they went about so much in the last few weeks is just very weird and doesn't seem to follow what they should be doing. But maybe the after Night of Champions, a nice fresh restart, we're back to normal. Who knows? That's all we can hope for, right?
I mean, he's like, this is the biggest draft of all time, but we're still going to have traveling tag champions because we're not going to split those. And we're still going to have our Universal Champion And the we're gonna bring over the Raw champion to the SmackDown side. We're gonna have the Raw Women's champion go over to the vice versa. And I'm just like, sounds like you should have just got rid of the brands and had people travel. Is what you want to do. So hopefully they change it up. I don't know. Um, hopefully Oscar wins because, like I said, what are we doing at this point? What are we doing at this point? I think who is doing something right at this point? LA Knight. Yeah. I loved how he just he hit Rick Boogs with the blunt force trauma. I love LA Knight. And then he cut a promo backstage afterwards, and I didn't lose. He lost. Were my shoulders pinned on the damn floor? No. LA Knight, anything he does is great. And it's like, I don't know. They should have done more with him after that huge segment with Bray, but
I felt like even after the loss, it was the perfect time for him to launch off because the match was cool as hell, and the loss did nothing to him, especially with Bray Wyatt being MIA. But like LA Knight, I think we've said it almost ad nauseum at this point. He's probably winning Money in the Bank. Unfortunately, not a successful cash in. It seems like, but
it's either him or Cody are winning. One of those two are winning.
I wouldn't mind seeing Cody win the Money in the Bank. It makes more sense story-wise.
I think Cody is going to win. If it's not, then it's LA Knight.
I'd like to see LA Knight get a mid-card title first. I think with him being on SmackDown, going after Theory would be great. But it seems like Grayson Waller's...
some heel-on-heel action there. I would love to see Grayson Waller and Austin Theory have a feud. I'd love to see LA Knight and Austin Theory have a feud. Like this heel-on-heel action is top-notch over there.
Yep. Well, LA Knight's kind of becoming like the anti-hero. Like, he's the bad guy, but everybody loves him.
He is, I know no one really wants to compare him to anyone, but he is taking over like a Stone Cold Steve Austin type of esque.
Yes.
Just less serious and not as tough.
Yes.
But I don't know how to describe it, but he's taking over an esque, like a feel like Stone Cold. Before you came on, I was talking with Zach, and I said I did want to add one last note to what I was saying before we left about the closest to the Attitude Era it's ever been, or more as big as like the Ruthless Suppression eras. It said that I felt like, to me, Cody and Roman lead the month up until now, like this month up until after WrestleMania and then leading up to WrestleMania was as big as Rock and Austin, because so many people are talking about Cody and Roman, and everybody and your mama's like, yeah, I was following that Bloodline story, and like, I can't believe Cody lost. Like, so many people who I don't even watch wrestling, people are like, yeah, I can't believe he lost. He should have won. Like, so many people it wasn't the result we wanted, but so many people are talking about it. So I'm like, this is huge. Like, Roman and Cody is huge. That story is huge.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You remove Cody from the situation because he's doing this thing with Brock, and how much steam that Bloodline story has lost.
Well, because it ended. Sammy and KO beat the Usos.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you do now. It's like you really should have had Cody win and then let the Bloodline go away for a while.
Well, that's the thing, because now you look at it, well, if Cody couldn't beat Roman, Brock couldn't beat Roman, who in the fuck is going to beat Roman?
You're building one guy right now, but I don't see him going to go. I don't see his path crossing him. We all talk about it. Gunther, if you build him up for the next year, you could say, okay. But we don't see, they're both heels. I don't see their paths crossing.
It would be very easy for Gunther to be babyface, especially just to beat Roman and then turn heel once he wins. It'd be very easy.
But like I said, I see his path going on to.
I agree.
World Heavyweight and put some respect on that title is what I see for him. It's interesting. It's really interesting. I mean, if they can do it right and drag this out to WrestleMania 40, hell, we'll be in attendance. It'd be pretty dope. Also, hey, I doubt it's going there, but if WrestleMania is going to London at WrestleMania 41, we'll know it. But in July, when they're there for Money in the Bank, they'll announce it there that WrestleMania 40 is going there. So
That would be awesome.
Would be. Let's see what happens. I mean, at the very least, we're going to Minneapolis. We're going to the Mall of America at the very least.
Oh boy.
Fred was like earlier, what's out there? The Mall of America. What else?
A lot of
There's an
lakes.
escape room in the Mall of America. There's an escape room in the Mall of America. And I think there's a roller coaster
We should try to get a lake house.
in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
No, I was,
Or a little outside, yeah.
no, I was literally just asking. Like, I didn't know if you meant like in Philly or in Minneapolis.
No, in Minneapolis, yeah, the land of 1,000 lakes, Minnesota. Come on. Geography. Okay.
But
Anyway.
did you really get tested on geography in school?
I did, yeah. Anyway, is there anything else we wanted to touch on tonight? Night of Champions, I mean, it's really like...
Does Rhea have a match?
No, but Mustafa Ali does.
That's right. As someone said,
Does not.
as someone said about Xavier Woods, Gunther's about to send Mustafa Ali into the Shadow Realms. Mustafa Ali is going to be buried in the sand out there and will not be returning back.
In the words of the good old JR Jim Ross, it's going to be a good old-fashioned country ass whooping.
You know, put the women and children to bed.
Yeah.
And what was with the firework celebration he got for winning the battle royal that they didn't touch on yet. I didn't watch the whole show, but I saw the clip of that with him winning in this big set. But they didn't like hype it up. They just kind of let it happen, and they were just like, "Yep, he's going over." They didn't say like, "Oh my god," you know. Whatever. It was very weird. Almost, it seemed like it was like a weird promo thing. But no, it
You
was
know
real
what's
life.
funny is Nick said that about the triple threat match between AJ, Edge, and Ray that they didn't sell it very well.
I think, I was just about to say, I think in the last few weeks, the commentary has sucked.
Yeah,
Michael Cole gets caught on calling moves the wrong moves quite a bit lately.
that too. That was something I pointed out to you.
He's been, like, at the pay-per-views, he's been lights out with some of this. WrestleMania, he was fucking amazing. But, like, since then, I feel like Michael Cole's been kind of ass.
He's probably taking a day off, and he's probably like, when it comes to like the Monday through Friday, he's like, whatever.
Y'all lucky I show up.
Yo, I've been here. If I go, who we got left?
Yeah, no, he's not wrong. Pat McAfee just signed a fat deal with ESPN, so he's going to be...
So he's not coming back to WWE.
He'll make appearances, but no, not to do commentary long-term, no.
The two best announcers WWE has seen in a long time have both left. Pat McAfee and Mario Ronaldo. What's his name, Zach?
More raw running off.
Yeah. Like, those two, could you imagine if they were on commentary together? It would have been like,
So,
it's terrible that they're both gone. That lets you know what it's like working for WWE. Just ain't like it ain't worth the money, obviously. I also here I want to play on a quick idea real quick, and then we'll close it out. What do you guys think? I think WWE would benefit from being seasonal, running 75% of the year and then taking off. Like after WrestleMania, they just took off into August. No shows at all into August. I think they would benefit from that. I know it's so taboo and never seen it, but I think they would benefit from it.
I think, like, storyline-wise and stuff like that, absolutely, but I'll tell you why it's never in a million years ever gonna fucking happen. Money,
I know
money,
it won't,
money,
but I'm just
money.
saying.
Because they're leaving so much money on the table. They put on, what, 300 shows a year?
I think I agree. It'll never happen, but I think it would storyline.
Yeah, it'd
give us a break.
It'd be like a
Give us
real
a chance to
sports
miss
season.
it.
It'd be a sports season, yes.
I mean, just have it be a longer sports season, but it'd give us a chance to miss it after WrestleMania blows off. I mean, let's be real here. I paid off after WrestleMania every year anyway. At this point, I'm doing. If I wasn't doing the podcast, I wouldn't be watching. I wouldn't be watching again until around SummerSlam or Money in the Bank. I'd be like, oh, let's get back into it and watch it for the Money in the Bank. But I would not be watching. Like,
Wouldn't that be something, right? You get WrestleMania. You get rid of Backlash. You get rid of Night of Champions, those 2 in between pay-per-views. You start the season off with Money in the Bank. And that starts your year with a man who can change the face of WWE at any minute for the entire year. Like, that's already what it is, but how much more build would it have when you're like, oh shit, they've been gone 3 months, let's see who's going to win the Money in the Bank? That's a good
it would
point.
Be wonderful.
It's cool.
I think it would be wonderful. I think it would be great for the company. And yes, you would lose TV right deals, but I think you'd get more people tuning in too. They'd like I said, people need their break. Half the people tune out anyway. So give them the chance to tune up and be like, oh shit, Money in the Bank. Let's see who wins, and start it off right with that. So you roll into Money in the Bank, then SummerSlam. I mean,
Yeah.
you come back with 2 big ones. Your wrestlers would perform better. There'd be less injuries. They'd get the summer off pretty much. I mean, they get at least half of the spring, half the summer they'd get off, and then they just roll into and hit it hard. I think it would honestly, like I said, we know it's never gonna happen. Vince McMahon would blow a goddamn gasket if anyone even brought it up in a meeting.
They'd be fired on spot.
Yeah, I think wrestlers would probably even take a pay cut if they were like. I think if they were given that
In exchange for it? Yeah, probably.
I think they would. Zach, you've been kind of quiet on that idea. What do you think?
Maybe not a break totally, but I think less premium live events would be better. I mean, even like this one, like I didn't care about Backlash, and even if you didn't really watch it, you only missed a couple of good matches. But even like I feel like this one coming up, you can skip. Probably most of the other ones besides the big shows, you can skip. So maybe instead of one each month, it'd be nicer to kind of just do one every few months to then save up so that it feels like a bigger occasion when they're coming, as opposed to like, all right, we're getting this again. Some of them are the same matches we just saw, but it's a premium live event.
That's kind of how AEW does it. They sprinkle
and I
a
like
few.
that. Yeah, it's I think it's better. Like I think because then in between, like it's kind of like a lower period. They can kind of have some fun matches that they don't need to really build up stories. It's just exciting things, and then it gives you more time to build up and get excited for matches that are going to end up being on the pay-per-view, as opposed to like, all right, WrestleMania just ended. Now we got 3 weeks to throw some other stuff together and do some rematches. All right, here's your next big show. Like, it's not really the same.
So I think the way you meet in the middle is what happens with this brand split, right? Each brand, they alternate months like they used to do in like 2005, 2006. So January SmackDown pay-per-view, and February would be a Raw pay-per-view, because then you're really locked in, and like Zach said, now there's more emphasis on main card matches or mid-card matches all of a sudden mean something because you have time to develop them over 2 months, and you can throw fun stuff in there. You can have I think it would raise the value of each individual pay-per-view, because now if you're a big Raw fan, you like the Raw roster better, you're on the edge of your seat for a month and a half, and vice versa for SmackDown.
There's nothing people like more than tribalism. They like to tell you that their side is better than your side. That's why, like Zach and I are loyal SmackDown people, and Nick's a loyal Raw guy, and it's just like, and so it's just like, and that got us through our childhood, and like it made us more interested in it. But I would like to have, I see the value in Zach's point. I like that. Honestly, like that'd be the closest thing we ever get to it. And then, like you said, I've always been a fan of going back to the brand specific pay-per-views, and I think you're at a point right now where you could really do that.
Yeah.
SmackDown's roster is dynamite, and Raw's roster is dynamite. So I think you could do that. And we already said it would be better for the storylines, but here also, you mentioned starting off, and we took that break and started off with Money in the Bank. Get this. We end with WrestleMania. We come back in July. First 2 shows is the draft right away. Bring us into the draft. Then we roll into Money in the Bank. SmackDown, half Raw. Let's see who's going to get the Money in the Bank briefcase. I think that'd be a dynamite way. And then also we'd be less worried about if that was the case, we'd be less worried about Cody fizzling out, because not seeing Cody for a while, when he comes back, we're like, oh, that's our guy. It's like that. So I think it's beneficial, but like I said, the fight dream, it's never gonna happen. Closest thing we're gonna get is the brand specific pay-per-views, and which I would like to see them do.
Yeah.
Especially when you get the, when Raw has the world champion, and I think you should split up the SmackDown titles again. And I really, I think you should split up the tag titles. Um, yeah, I think I don't like seeing superstars go back and forth, but I'm biased. I grew up watching the brand split era. Like,
Yep.
I grew up in arguably the best time ever for a brand split area was in that Ruthless Aggression era. Honestly, I think that the Ruthless Aggression era was the best time it was ever a brand split. You had superstars like Batista and Undertaker on SmackDown, and John Cena, Triple H, Shawn Michaels on Raw. Like, it's just like, we also on SmackDown had JBL, Randy Orton, and Bobby
Edge.
Lashley. Like, Edge was on. He was back and forth. Edge was,
True.
he was back and forth.
Rey Mysterio
yeah.
was a big SmackDown guy
Rey
too.
Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero,
Yeah.
SmackDown guys. Like, Raw had Big Show and Kane. Like, and then we had just great general managers with Teddy Long and Eric Bischoff. Like, Eric Bischoff.
A lot of people have been saying this, and we've talked about it. Pierce needs to stay on one show, and there needs to be another GM for the other show.
I would love for Baron. No, I'm sorry. Woo, sorry, that came out wrong.
Constable?
What's his name? God damn it. The commentator on SmackDown, other than
Wade Barrett?
Wade Barrett. I love for Wade Barrett to be the other general manager. Or, I think, how long has William Regal been gone from AEW at this point?
Almost a year?
I think he had a year.
I think he's got to wait till the end of this year before he can be on TV. I believe that was the deal, yeah.
I think because it was around
right?
War Games is when he came back.
Gotcha. So I'm saying you can bring, maybe that's what they're waiting for, is William Regal to come back to do the general manager. But, like, because NXT doesn't need a general manager.
They have one. It's Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, Shawn is their authority figure down there, so you don't need a general manager. So William could go back to being the general. I honestly see William more as a Raw general manager for some reason.
I do too.
What do you think, Zach?
I like the authority figure. I think that was what was really missing from the draft. Even though they had these legends come out and pick the people for them, but just seeing a room with a sign that said Raw and SmackDown was kind of lame, and they were like, all the representatives and the people in charge are in there picking their thing.
Who's the people in charge?
It was almost like, and I know like the last time they did it too, they had the war room, and it was just a bunch of random guys in suits that were pretending to, you know what I mean? Like it was better back in the day when you had like an authority figure come out and be like, oh, for my show, I want this guy, and it's better, I think, than the way that they've gone about it. So yeah, they could use that. They need somebody, whether it's Adam Pearce or whoever.
I like Adam Pearce.
I do too.
Stay.
Scrap Daddy.
Yeah, Scrap Daddy. It's just who else would you have? I mean, honestly,
it seems like Sonya is kind of making some managerial moves again now that she's with Chelsea Green. She tried to make a power play on Pierce last week, so.
I'll tell you what, if the New Day didn't have legs left as a trios, if they bring back trios, I would say Xavier Woods should run his hand at being a general manager. Like he's already, like they put him into GM mode as a general manager because of like the up down stuff. Like I mean, him and Prince Pretty, or maybe bring back Tyler Breeze as a general manager.
That'd be funny. Interesting.
Zach doesn't seem like he likes that idea.
That's something. That's a name I forgot about. Just to pop up and all right, but hey, who knows? Anything can happen, right?
Who knows?
Anything to not break your friend's heart, right, Zach?
Exactly.
I'm just throwing names out there. I'm not married to any idea. Like I said, I would like to see William Regal or
Wade Barrett.
Wade Barrett. Thank you. Man, that was a long pause. Or Wade Barrett as the GM. That's who I'd love to see. One of those guys. Hey. We probably won't even get general managers.
Who knows, man? Hopefully we do. Anything else we want to touch on, guys, before we get on out of here?
Yeah, one last thing, then we're out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Mania 40. Would you rather see Rock and Roman or Cody and Roman?
Cody and Roman.
Cody and Roman.
Cody and Roman. That's another testament to how big this rivalry is.
I want to see Cody and Roman if it's for the belt if it wasn't for the belt, I would. If Roman didn't have the belt, I would want to see The Rock and Roman. But
Well, yeah.
if Cody's got the belt, we gotta have that. I mean, this has to happen.
Either one of them, if either one of them has the belt, I mean, yeah, it's like, I agree. Especially if Roman has the belt, I want to see it. And that's already proven that this reaction will be bigger than it would have been this year, which is kind of hard to believe that where everybody's like, nope, I need to see Cody beat Roman. I need this. Like, I need this almost as much as I need air. And so,
Just give us Cody and The Rock. Meet us halfway.
People would be so pissed off. Beyond pissed off. Listen, I said after we didn't get it at WrestleMania 38, it was never going to be the same, and I don't know that it ever will, unless Roman goes away for a little while.
yeah. Oh, this is really the last time. Randy announced they're announcing that Randy.
Fucking cat. Freaking out.
He's just as upset about Randy.
I know they're announcing that Randy might not wrestle anymore, and John has said his body can't handle it anymore. Which I think everybody was like, "Yeah, John, you could stay."
We know.
Yeah, we've seen your match at WrestleMania. You can stay away, but Randy, don't go anywhere. Me at least, I'm like Randy, don't go anywhere. I need to see another. Like, I would love to see another run from you. Like I said, your last run was awesome. Like.
Yeah.
Love the stuff with RK Bro. Really loved your stuff
With Drew.
with Drew McIntyre. I mean, like, that's an underrated rivalry. Like, that was a really good rivalry. Loved it when he won the champion and he was running from Drew the Fiend, and who else was he running for? He was running for like 3 people. Drew the Fiend, and who else was he
Alexa Bliss was the other one.
like Alexa Bliss, they were making memes out of him.
Yeah, listen. It's not just you. This is something I texted Teddy about. Like, it's a little hard to, like, take this all in. Edge is going to be done soon. Rey Mysterio is going to be done soon. Cena said he can't do it anymore. Randy's being told he's done. Like, Triple H put his boots in the ring at 38 while we were there. Like, this is our childhood, like, getting put to bed here. And, like, it's a little hard to think that we're never going to see these guys again. And I also said to you, I'm very okay with never seeing John Cena wrestle again. But I share that sentiment. I wanted Randy Orton to win another world championship. I wanted Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania for a world championship in the worst way. And we'll never get that. And I think we're getting to a point now where everyone's starting to take the hate goggles off because he's such an amazing heel. Like, how amazing Randy Orton was. And, like, how much we're going to miss him when he's not wrestling anymore.
It's funny. So, like, I miss seeing Triple H's intro. I don't miss seeing him wrestle anymore. I don't miss seeing Undertaker wrestle. I miss seeing Undertaker's entrance. I'm gonna miss seeing Edge's entrance. I'm gonna miss seeing Randy wrestle. Like,
True.
like that. I can clearly say, like, I actually am gonna miss seeing Randy wrestle. Like I said, I really, like, to me it's hard to swallow that I'm never gonna see Triple H's entrance again. I'm never gonna see the Undertakers. I never even got to see the Undertakers in person. Like, that's the worst part about it, is I never got to see him walk the Undertaker thing, which really sucks. But man, I'm really gonna miss watching Randy. Like, I grew up watching Undertaker. I got a lot of matches out of that. I'm happy. I got a lot of matches out of Edge that none really blew me away. So, like,
you just got a lot of matches out of Edge.
Yeah, again, that's what I'm saying. I got a lot of matches out of Edge. Like I said, none of them blew me away. Taker, I love Taker. So I'm not John. Listen, I got too many of John. I got too many of John, and so it's like, but Randy, he's the youngest out of all of them.
Yeah,
he's the youngest. He's only 43. Like, and so, like, and Randy is just consistently, like, we took him for granted. Like, he doesn't have a bad match. He doesn't have great matches, but he doesn't have a bad match. And his storylines are always awesome. That's what we can say. His matches may not be like deliver all the time, but they definitely don't stink. And his storylines are always peak. You know, they're always great. Oh, I mean, he had one bad match, and I don't think that was his fault. That WrestleMania theme match was pretty good. But a lot of people had bad matches with the Fiend.
Can we just not talk about WrestleMania 37, like Randy Orton versus the Fiend, ever fucking again? Literally ever. That makes me so. That is one of the biggest blunders in WWE history, I have to imagine. Like, that story could have been amazing.
I don't understand like why Randy didn't say, "Wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. I'm gonna win."
Not even that. Like, I would have been fine with Randy winning. How he won? Alexa turns on Bray before the match even starts? What the fuck was it? There was no payoff.
The match had started already.
Oh, had it? I don't
Yeah.
even remember.
And then, well, he won with one RKO. One RKO for the Fiend. You burned this man alive, and he's still here, but you pinned him with an RKO.
Not good.
Got hit with a sledgehammer and a toolbox, and I don't know. It's a mess. And that was the other thing. It was supposed to be his big reincarnation, and they had this whole big thing and everything else. And that was it. And then we never saw him
Where is he
again.
now? Where's Bray now?
Apparently, he's still not medically cleared. I don't know what happened. Nobody knows what happened. But, like, I don't know. I don't know that I can confidently say if he comes back, I'm going to care all that much.
He must have had like a really bad concussion. It's the only thing I can think.
I don't know, man. I feel bad because, like, a lot of this is, like, mental health stuff and, like, physical health stuff, but, like,
We all said this was his last chance, and
I don't wish anything bad on the dude at all. Like, I wish him well and everything, but, like, I don't ever care to see him on TV again.
it didn't go well. No. And then, all right. Well, I guess we can sign off with one last thing. I know I've said it like 5 times already. That video I sent you, Zach, of Mick Foley getting out of the car, he's struggling to get around nowadays.
His health is not doing great.
He mentioned that on his show how he had he lost a lot of weight, and then he said he gained it all back and more. But he had said that too, that it was harder for him to get around and do stuff. So he was like trying to work on his health and all that, and hope to kind of be back to slimmer and getting better. But he said he was going to be a work in progress. So we'll see.
He was like hobbling. I was like, oh god, he looks like he's in pain as he's walking.
He has to
It is,
be,
yeah.
dude. Listen, anyway, great show, fellas. We won't see each other till after Night of Champions. It's going to be an excellent topic of conversation.
This is at
right
1
there.
o'clock on Saturday.
That's what I'm saying. We can literally go live that night and talk about it. So that's probably the plan for that. I know I'm not really going to be doing anything else, so I'll be there.
I'll be done with classes, so I'll be free.
Well, I don't know if I'll be home. If I am, maybe I'll watch the show and drop in. If not, I'll catch it whenever. But I will be watching AEW Sunday night, so that I'm more excited about than anything.
Sounds good, Newman.
Okay, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us as always. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.